I'm the Nevada Stray Cat. When I talk to my friends from back east, one of the early questions that often comes up is, Cat, is it true that there are ranches in Nevada?
I left Wendover about an hour after dawn, before the desert started to heat up. I took Interstate 80 west from the center of town, and had to deal with the early morning winds for a little while. Out near Nevada exit 398, which is labeled Pilot Peak, you can see this mine nestled up against the mountain. Interestingly, though they call it the Pilot Peak mine, that's not Pilot Peak it's digging into. It's not even part of the Pilot Range. That's the Toano Range, and Pilot Peak? It's over there. That mine is the reason I'm in Wendover. My dad, a retired mining engineer, used to be the plant manager out there. They mine limestone, laid down when this area was underwater as part of the Pleistocene-era Lake Bonneville, and turned it into quicklime and hydrate, most of which gets used in Nevada's gold mining industry. And this is probably a good time to drop a disclaimer. I'm a retired nurse. I am not a geologist, nor a historian. My dad is a retired mining engineer, and one of my uncles teaches history at a junior college, so I've been exposed to the concepts of each field, but I am in no way a professional. Most of my research is open source, mixed with oral anecdotes obtained from interviews with local individuals. It is almost certain that I'll get something wrong somewhere along the line, and I hope you'll tell me about it in great detail when I do. In the meantime, if you want things like actual research and fact-checking, I recommend you go check out Milo Rossi on the Mini Minuteman channel. Milo actually has a degree in ecology and environmental science, so when he talks about rocks and how they formed, he knows what he's on about. Interstate 80 goes through the Toano Range via the Silver Zone Pass, and I was fascinated when I first saw this structure. It's a tunnel, but why? It took me a minute to understand what it was and what it was for. I'll let you think about it for a few, and get back to it after the next one. In the meantime, I should mention that the U.S. interstate system was the brainchild of U.S. President and General Dwight D. Eisenhower. Eisenhower became president in 1953, and having just been intimately involved in World War II's European theater, he saw that the existing numbered highway system was not sufficient for moving troops and equipment rapidly across the continent, in the event of foreign invasion of the United States. By 1956, his administration convinced the Congress to pass the Federal Aid Highway Act. That mine that's visible on the south side of the freeway, by the by? Although Nevada is mostly known for silver, like Mansa Musa, we do have our own gold mines. And that's one. Places like this former Shell station near Oasis, Nevada always make me a little sad. There were people out here, making a living out of a truck stop and motel. But as technology changed, car engines got more efficient and driving range became longer, leaving only a ruin that will crumble completely away in time. I got off the interstate at Oasis to stretch my legs and change my camera battery. This is also the road to Montello, Nevada, but that is literally a story for another day. Back on the interstate. Interstate Freeway 80 was one of the first freeways designated in 1956 under the legislation which created the system. The final segment wasn't opened until 30 years later in 1986. Running 2,900 miles from San Francisco, California to Teaneck, New Jersey, it's the second longest freeway in the U.S. interstate system. The next mountain range we need to cross is the Pequot Mountains, which we do by way of the northern end of the range. There's a rest stop at the summit, and that marks the point where we pass out of the Great Salt Lake Desert and into the Humboldt River Valley. You may notice that it's a lot greener on this side. It was late spring when I made this ride, and snowmelt had brought the kind of water that turns the desert green and causes plants to flower. And that brings us to another one of these structures. Have you figured out what they are? Yes, they're wildlife overpasses. I've heard a story, almost certainly apocryphal, about the concerned citizen who called the highway department and asked them to move the wildlife crossing signs, because the poor things were just getting slaughtered where they had the signs. While I'm slowing down signs, look at these. The fact that there's a prison in Independence Valley is peak irony. The prison in question is the Wells Conservation Camp, where 150 minimum custody offenders are managed by the Nevada Department of Corrections. Apparently, most of their work is dedicated to wildland firefighting support, though they also work on a variety of projects locally, including, but not limited to, wildland conservation, community projects, senior citizen assistance, and highway beautification and cleanup projects. The last mountain range of the day is the East Humboldt Range, named, like the Humboldt River, by the first individual to make a detailed map of the region in 1845, John C. Fremont. He named them for German naturalist Alexander von Humboldt, whom Fremont admired greatly. We finally arrive at Nevada exit 352B and enter Wells. The site where the town now sits was originally known as Humboldt Wells, when the Transcontinental Railroad established a passenger stop here. But in 1877 the town had a fire, and a desperate telegraph clerk sent out the message, "Wells is burning!" After the town was rebuilt, no one called it anything more than Wells. Today, approximately 1,500 people live here, mostly supporting, and supported by, the interstate. There are truck and auto fuel stops, truck repair companies, restaurants, a few motels, and yes, 2 ranch houses. Or rather, there were 2. One of them, Donna's Ranch, opened since 1869, closed during the pandemic, leaving Bella's Hacienda as one of the last 11 legal establishments left in Nevada, meaning one of the last 11 legal establishments left in the United States. And make no mistake, these establishments are legal. Licensed, inspected, taxed, and regulated just like any other business, and probably more than some businesses. There are no new licenses being granted, but lapsed licenses can be reinstated. While I don't know if Donna's Ranch is currently on the market, it's a matter of public record that the last time it changed owners, in 1999, $1 million was exchanged. But let's end our visit to Wells with something a little more innocent. My late mother was a quilter for over 50 years, including a term as president of the Arizona Quilters Guild. Until literally the week she died, she was making quilts for the Quilts of Valor Foundation, who give quilts to our warriors coming home wounded from overseas.
I'm in Wells, and I found Main Street Quilt. This is Jolene Supp, who owns Main Street Quilt. Jolene, how long have you owned this place?
Well, we started about 3 years ago. This whole complex is owned by the Wells Main Street program, and that's funded through the state of Nevada Go Ed. And so we did a remodel to this old motel, and now we have a little boutique shop through here, of which the quilt store is the anchor to it.
That's pretty cool. And that answers the next question I was going to ask, which is what made you do it? My mother ran for a couple of years a very small quilt store in Provo, Arizona, and couldn't make ends meet. So it's fabulous that you are.
Well, in Wells, Nevada, and originally I was the city manager for many years in Wells. And how many times in rural Nevada do we hear there's nothing for women to do? And you're trying to attract businesses, you're trying to attract people, and the guys are loving the golfing and the fishing and the hunting and the outdoor recreation, and the gals are going, whoop, done. There's nothing for women to do. And so we've had a quilt guild in town here for many years, Humboldt Quilt Guild, and them along with quilt guilds in the area, and a lot of quilters out there have definitely been very good to me. And so this has been a fun side hustle that turned into a full-time thing.
So other than your wonderful shop, what's the best thing about living in Wells?
Oh, you know, in Wells we know each other. I've lived here for 35 years. My husband was born and raised here. Of course, we've got gorgeous eye candy in our backyard there with that mountain and Angel Lake and like I say, all the outdoor recreation. But it's an area where at the golf course you don't have to do tee times, you just have to show up. High school sports, same thing. You didn't have to try out, you just had to show up. And I just love living in a small community that we wave at each other and say hi to our neighbors and know it.
Is there anything else you think that the people of the internet should know about Wells or about your shop?
I have an Etsy store, Main Street Quilt by Joe, that I do a tremendous amount of business on.
Link in the description.
We do classes, we have all kinds of fabric, and some notions, and lots of quilt ideas. Crafty Corner is here. It's just kind of a complex that you could spend a day at when you get the stores all open, and love and enjoy downtown and the history of Wells.
Thank you very much for your time, Jillian. I hope you have a great day.
All right, see ya.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Wells is not a big town, but it's an important first step for other trips I want to share with you, so I appreciate you coming along. If you enjoyed the trip, please do all the regular YouTube things: like, subscribe, comment, and share with others who you think might enjoy the ride. Also, huge thanks to George K., who created the music used in this episode. Link to their Spotify page in the description. I'm the Nevada Stray Cat, and I'll see you around.